start with AJ Hinch. What's the lead off?
AJ, Casey talked a lot yesterday about being off the postseason roster. What were those conversations like, both then and I think you guys might have talked after the season as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard. And as a player, I never really understood either what goes into rosters and decisions, and it's not a fairness exercise; it's a competitive one. And so, when I had the conversation with them last year, you just try to shoot it straight with them and let them know why. I mean, I don't expect players to always understand in the moment. Everybody's a good teammate that we have on our team, and Casey's a tremendous one. And he took the news professionally and then rooted on his teammates, but it did instill a sort of a burn for him in his stomach, for the rest of the offseason and into this spring, having to make our team and then throughout the season. So it's ironic how baseball will bring you right back to the same spot, and here we are where I'm, giving him the ball in game 2 in a much clearer picture on where he fits on our team, and an expectation for him to come out and do well. He's been awesome for us all-star season. He's been a staple in our rotation. He's answered a ton of challenges. He's pitched through duress and has made a few adjustments, and he's come out of it, pitching at his best at the biggest time of the year. So super proud of him. I know how much work he puts into it, and I know how much it matters to him. And there's always an edge with Case in general around pitching the day that he pitches. Today's probably a little extra special.
We're going to talk to Jack here in a minute. He came here last year, 1-year deal, the idea of getting his value back up for his free agency before he hit 30. This year he comes back. He's got a little different deal. Do you feel like he's kind of less of a mercenary player now, more of a Tiger now? Like, you think he's settled into kind of the?
Yeah, I don't think him any differently. I've always thought of Jack as coming to Detroit for a couple of reasons. One is I feel like he thought he was joining a good team and a good organization, and he trusted us with some adjustments last year, some adjustments this year to try to make him the best pitcher he can be. The second reason that he shows up to work every day is to win. And he got to taste that at the highest level last year, being on the team that was the last team standing. And that type of experience, I think, is incredible for our group now. And we got to watch him get his ring. We got to watch him, battle through a few things of his own this year. And one thing I know about Jack is he's going to be crazy prepared. He's very routine oriented. And he's another guy that I keep mentioning, leaving everything out on the field in the competition. He's good at it. He knows what that feeling's like to have your season on the line. And so anytime I hand him the ball, I think he pitches with that mentality, and I appreciate that about him, throughout the season.
Do you feel like you just mentioned having to watch him get his ring and your players having to experience that as well? It's a good thing for them because they get to see that. But do you think it lit a fire under them to be like, well, I want to get one with him now as his teammate?
Yeah, I don't think a fire was ever out, so I don't think we had to light it. I think if anything, experiencing the postseason last year, resonated with our guys that you want to be in all these postseasons, and you give yourself a puncher's chance to advance to the next round and the next round. And there are a few guys in our clubhouse who have run the whole race all the way to the final game of the season. And that experience is unlike any other one in this sport. And so I think our guys have always been driven. I think they're starting to understand what's at stake. And last year, when we made the playoffs, I sensed a sort of a light bulb going off for all of our guys as to how incredibly cool it is to play at this time of the year. And then this year, playoff questions started like in June when we had the best record in baseball. So we got to talk about it for a long time, and then we also got to talk about the threat of losing it. And then now that we're here and we come through a playoff game yesterday, and we have a great opportunity today, again, I think our players are well educated on what's at stake and how much fun this is and how much of an opportunity that you have to earn play today.
Jeff,
I wanted to ask you about Will Best. What has impressed you about the season he's had, or the type of season he's had, but then culminating with yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, he is a consistent guy, both in his work, in his personal life, as a teammate. The mood and vibe around him is always the same, and he's done all this without being stamped the closer, right? Yet he's closed the most games. He's done it without an assurance that of anything that what's ahead. And I think his consistency for me really feeds into that role as a back end reliever, leverage reliever, closing type reliever, whatever you want to call him, because I know every day, good or bad, he's going to come out and have a chance to perform well for us. And so his strike throwing's been really good. He's had to, again, it hasn't been a perfect ride for him. He's had to make adjustments along the way. I think it's important for all players to realize that when you look up on the scoreboard, those numbers are built by successes. They're also built by a few challenges. And so Will hasn't got distracted by anything this year. I think he's been very, very good about dealing with what's in front of him that day, whether he's pitching the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, inheriting a runner, getting some bad luck, not executing pitches and getting beat. All that's fed into Will's season and our reliance upon him to pitch important outs.
AJ, we don't normally see the same lineup from you, but what do you like about this group? I mean, you don't normally roll the same lineup out, though you have more this year than in years past.
Yeah, a little bit more. I think the balance on this roster, including Wenzel as a switch hitter and where to put him in the order. We're also, going up against the exact bullpen that we were going up against yesterday, with pretty much everybody on deck. I can't imagine anybody on their side not being available. So they've got to make decisions, hopefully quickly today if we can put pressure on their starter. Our balance in our lineup, I think, allows me to run out the same lineup with the unknown of how they're going to try to build their 27 outs against us. So it is a little bit unique. I think postseason baseball lends itself to maybe a little more consistency when it comes to lineups, particularly with how our strengths are built and you're facing all the same-sided or same-handed pitcher. That can lead to. If there's a left-handed pitcher today, I assure you it would have been different. But I think our game plan to attack their starter and the options they have in the pen, balancing out the lineup the way that I did was important.
Chris?
Javi's been a lot more content to take that ball the other way and shoot that hole the last couple of weeks. What maybe sparked that? And was that a conversation that the hitting department had, or is he just he wants to contribute?
Yeah, I think Javi is underrated in playing the game. I think when we think of Javi, I think a lot of people think of the big swing and some of the big connections and some of the big misses. It's the El Mago mystique, right? We think a lot of big things about Javi. One thing Javi does is play the game. Whether that's subtle base running things, whether that is kind of governing the middle of the field, the tags, the small things turn into really a big deal with Javi. So it doesn't surprise me in these moments, in these environments, in the playoffs, and his concentration and he was one of the few guys yesterday that didn't take a big swing off Gavin Williams. And that's smart baseball because it's really hard to take your big monster swing and connect. You might if he makes a mistake, but I love that he's toned it down to the point of taking what the game's given him and got the pull side homer in Boston the other day. Also had some big swings in Boston, but yet also can play the game that's in front of him, and pretty remarkable, head on his shoulders when it comes to doing the little things.
Cody?
How did you react to seeing Chase DeLauder in their lineup today?
Yeah, I was curious how they were going to use him. I know short series, the decision is always the extra position player versus the extra pitcher. And when they added the extra position player, and specifically him, I knew it was for his bat. And I didn't know that could have come yesterday in a pinch hit. When the game on the line, it can come. Now it comes today as starting. It made me look back and to see all the different players that have done it. We've gone through Mondesi and McClanahan and inside just talking about Weathers, these guys that debuted in the playoffs before. And, it's kind of a great baseball lesson for all of us that it's rare to do it in the playoffs like this. So, obviously yesterday we spent a lot of time on him with our players who have played him, our advanced team, and it doesn't surprise me given the quality of prospect that he is, but pretty remarkable, note, I guess, to know that someone's making their debut in the biggest game of the year.
And we saw Cole throwing earlier today.
Yeah.
Just now that your group has eyes on him, how do you feel about his health, his status moving
forward? Yeah,
forward?
he took a step forward over the last 24 hours, which is good. I don't know what that means yet, but the activity level's increasing, the intensity of the swings have increased, the confidence I think he's, with certain things, but he hasn't swung and missed, because you don't swing and miss off a tee or off flips. You haven't, dove awkwardly, fielding a ball and things like that. But for what he's being asked to do, we're able to put more and more on his plate over the last 24 hours here and challenge him a little bit more, so that if we have a decision to make, that we have the most information available to us. So good signs, but I don't know that anything can be drawn from it quite yet.
Ethan,
Last few weeks we've gotten to talk to you. You've said a lot about controlling your destiny, controlling what's ability for you. When you look at this now, you're in game 2, you have the opportunity to win it and move on to the next series. What is the feeling for you for that after having the stretch of September?
Yeah, urgency is the feeling, because I wish the game started at 11:30. I wish I'm ready to go. So is our team, but we were in this exact spot last year, and that's what gives me a ton of confidence about how we're going to come out into this game. And we know the other side's going to be fighting for their season. So we've been in this spot before. We know that it can't be decided until you get your 27 outs, you play your 9 innings, and a lot's going to happen between now and then. But there's a sense of excitement that and urgency to get to the game. It's probably the only time I'm going to thank MLB for the 1 o'clock game, so we can just get to it and get to competing, because it's rare that you get in this position to continue to have an opportunity to control what's going on with your team, and everybody knows what's at stake on both sides, and I expect the same amount of urgency that comes in an elimination game if it was the other way, because if you look too much into kind of having the lead in this series, you're going to be caught in an elimination game the next day when you have a short series like this.
Jason,
when a team executes, plays like yesterday, like the rundown, like bunt plays that, we all watch endlessly in spring training, and then you might not see for a while. How encouraging is that for a manager that, A, the message stuck, and B, I also have lessons I can point to next spring, right?
Oh, for sure. That stuff will be sent all to our PD system. Like, everybody's going to show on, everything that we did right. And I think what I'm reminded of is those are winning plays, and it's winning moments, and that we are a winning team. I think so many times in our sport, because we play every day, what we see last is what we expect all the time, right? And it's easy to say that coming out of yesterday. Big win, big emotional debut, outing by Skubal, excellent job by Vest, huge bunt by McKinstry. Like, all those, that's who we are. Like, we're a winning team and we're great. We're also that good team whenever things aren't going well. So we're a winning team because we can do things like that and execute when the game's on the line. And I love that it comes to the center point of the game when you talk about it behind the scenes, when you prepare like our guys do. And obviously it's very rewarding because everything matters when you get to October baseball.
AJ, thanks for coming. Yep. Jack Flaherty on his way here.
Small chair or something? Yeah.
Jack, just what does it mean to be in this situation where you don't know if you're going to be pitching tomorrow, but also having the experience of pitching in the World Series last year and how that could help you going into Game 3 if that's there?
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's kind of hard questions to answer because you're kind of talking about a game that hasn't happened yet in terms of, the one that we got today. And so today is just about going out, being a really good cheerleader and supporting these guys and watching Casey and the bullpen go out and do their thing. And then, that's really the whole focus of today. And then, if we get to tomorrow, then we get to tomorrow.
Chris?
We kind of, from talking to you all year, we know how you are on these things, but when when AJ has you guys in, it's between you and Casey who gets this game 2, and he picks Casey. What was kind of your mindset at that point?
I don't care. I'm gonna pitch when I pitch. As long as you're a part of these things and you get to be a part of these runs and get to be a part of the postseason, like it doesn't matter to me at all. So I'm looking forward to watching Casey go out and do his thing, and and just hoping that we take care of business. And I'm not important until the next one.
What's it like too, obviously, now where you are in a situation where you're pitching game 3, it could be an elimination game, or game 1 of the ALDS. I mean, those are both, very important starts that you'd be making. I guess kind of what is that like, and what are the emotions as you prepare for either one?
Again, kind of no real thoughts on it right now. Like I'm as weird as it is, even though I may not be a part of this game in game 2, it feels like you are. No matter, even if you're not participating, like you're not playing in it, you feel a part of it, and you're with the guys, and you're and you're riding with the guys. So in terms of looking to whatever start it may be, honestly, like my head hasn't even gotten there yet, and we'll get there when we get there. But right now, it's really like being there with these guys today and not looking any further ahead. So it's hard to answer those questions.
You mentioned being pretty locked into game 2, today's game, right? In the past, have you been able to talk to Fed or Ding, or when you're not pitching, and or talk to even the starting pitcher, or is it more of just, hey, rooting on the guys?
It's a lot of rooting on the guys. We may talk about what they see, over the course of the game, or why this pitch or that pitch. But for the most part, I'll do a lot of homework on myself, and we'll get together, whatever day I end up starting.
Chris. Jack, your journey here with the Tigers, you came here on a 1-year deal last year, traded, won a World Series, came back on another kind of 1-year deal. But as the season has gone on, do you kind of feel like this is home for you now? Did you feel less of a kind of a passing through guy now than you may have at last year this time?
Yeah, it's definitely different when you're going to be somewhere for an entire season, and I was able in the short time I was here last year to build special relationships with the guys, where when it came time for the deadline, it was weird because I didn't really want to go. Obviously, things worked out in a great way for both sides, and I was lucky enough to come back and continue those relationships. And as this year's gone on, it obviously hasn't been quite what it was last year. There's been a lot more ups and downs, but these guys have had my back throughout all of it, and I just continue to try to go out and put in work, and know that they've got my back. So it's been awesome competing with these guys, no matter the way that it's gone, the way the season went. I mean, we've experienced all the highs and all the lows and everything in between. And may have not gotten here the way we wanted, but I think AJ said it, where it doesn't matter once we get here, and everybody gets a chance to start over.
Just thinking back 6 months ago, you were at Dodger Stadium getting your World Series ring, a lot of your former teammates surrounding you. How much did that moment mean to you? And as you go into the playoffs with this team, how much does getting another World Series ring push you?
Oh, I mean, that's everything. It's the reason you get out of bed in the morning is to go out and have a chance to win, no matter where you're at, and to be able to have a chance to do it with these guys is all the more special. Receiving it and having that moment there, it was great. It was awesome, but I mean, I haven't looked at that thing in 5 months. It's been put away, so it's been about moving forward and moving on with these guys and competing with them every single day and giving them everything I have, even if at times it hasn't been the best. But that's all kind of been put behind, and now we're just focused on what's going forward.
Jeff, as a pitcher, when you see Skubal yesterday, you've seen him for the last basically year and a half or whatever. What impressed you the most about what he did yesterday?
I think it's more of the fact that it might have been his third straight start against these guys, and the adjustments he was able to make. They made some adjustments after, he dominated against them through the shutout. They made some adjustments, and he still pitched really, really well. But then yesterday was another level of dominance, and it's one of those things. I mean, I've been lucky enough to take the ball in some game ones, but you're able to set the tone and you're able to start, everything of like this is what it's going to be, and then you save the bullpen for today, and you save the bullpen for the next day. So we used 2 guys yesterday with him and Vest was incredible, but the responsibility that goes into that isn't just setting the tone. It's also like, well, it's also we're going to save the bullpen, and you know he did something that I don't know if he's ever done before, which you know he comes off after 7 and 95 pitch, and I'm talking to Casey. I'm like, I think he's going to go back out. Like he cruised through that inning. Like there's no slowing down, and he goes back out there and makes some incredible pitches. You know, we'll joke about it. So I'll joke about it now. If he could just catch the ball and turn double play, like he's through 8. We joked about it. We won the game, so it's all fun and games. But he's through 8 if he just that ball goes into his glove. But he's still able to recover and make the play against and get Quan out, and then turn it over to Vest. But he's a workhorse. Over his innings pitched, his highest total for innings pitches in the season, and he just doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all. So he's it was impressive to watch yesterday.
Jack, how have you kind of built trust with Dylan Dingler over the course of this year, and what do you think has allowed him to step into such a prominent role early in his career?
You respect those guys that work hard. I think that's something that that's something that you respect and you like to see and you appreciate. The guys that work hard are the ones that you want to compete with and you want to, work with them on a day-to-day basis. And that guy is one of the first guys in the building every day, and then he's sticking around and one of the last guys to leave. So you see that, and those are the guys that you want to compete with, and it starts with that. And then he's also a pretty good communicator when it comes to having conversations. What do you got for me? Days in between, if he's got an off day, catching up, having conversations. We had a couple sit downs of just like more so on my hey, what adjustments do I have to make? When I was scuffling there for a little bit, where it was going from bad to worse, and like, hey, what do we need to do? Okay, great. Then we make those adjustments and things start to go in the right direction. Okay, let's keep on this. Let's remember to reiterate those things. And he was a part of those conversations and gave some, some good input, what he's seeing as he's getting the ball or as he's receiving. So for me, I really appreciate those guys that work hard and want to communicate.
One more on the right.
Hey, Jack, so can you explain to me how hard it is to game plan for a guy like Jose Ramirez, like how good he is, like how he covers the plate on both sides, and like how you guys have been pitching him more effectively of late, like kind of limiting his power?
Jose's one of those guys where I think for a lot of years, and you'd ask the most underrated player in the league, like he's at the top of everybody's list. I think for the guys here, we don't see him as underrated. Like we think he just obviously still deserves way more spotlight than he gets. For how good he is, and that's just an incredible player, and you just hope to contain them for as long as you can and try to make really good pitches and execute. That's what it comes down to with those guys, especially at this time of the year. It comes down to execute, and he's going to be locked in, and he's going to put together really good pro at bats each and every time. So you just try to go out and compete, and you know that you're getting his best, and you give him your best, and you just do everything you can to continue to try to execute against those guys.
Thanks for coming in, Jack.
Yep.
Thank you.